Welcome back to the Metal Exchange. This is Chris. I'm here with Justin, and we have a very special interview, very special episode lined up for you right now. As a lot of you have probably heard, PowerQuest will be reforming with their original lineup after 18 years for an exclusive show in Norway at the Warriors of Steel Festival in May of next year. And who better to talk to about this reunion than two of those members? They both happen to be named Steve, keyboardist Steve Williams, and founder, really co-founders of the band, Steve Williams, keyboard player, and Steve Scott, bass player, both joining us from across the pond. Justin here with us as well. Justin, how are you today?
I'm good, my friend. How are you?
You could see from the look on my face and the shirt I'm wearing that this is probably one of the best case scenarios as far as interviews go. Steve Williams, we'll start with you. How are you today?
I'm very well. Hello, guys. Hope you're both doing well. Hi, Steve. Nice to see you, mate.
You too.
How you doing?
Looking good.
Yeah, good to be back with you. It's been a few years, fellas, hasn't it, since we spoke? But
yes,
always a pleasure.
And it's great having you back, Steve Scott. Nice to have you on for the first time. We actually had we had a plan for the four of us to get together a while back and talk about like the old days of PowerQuest, I think, and then when the band decided to kind of call it a day, we said, maybe this is a conversation best for another day. But it turns out that day is today. So I guess I will start out, and either one of you can chime in on this. But how did this whole thing come about? As particularly Steve Williams, did you have in the back of your head any idea that this was something that you would consider or want to do, or did you feel like the PowerQuest ship had sailed?
Well, I think the first thing probably to say is, and I'm sure Steve will agree, was this was in no way was it a planned thing. None of us had this in our mind's eye to be doing next year. Now, that's not to say none of us had it in the back of our mind that one day we might do something like that. I know Steve certainly feels like that, but there were never any conversations. There was never any kind of heading towards that kind of thing. And you have to remember as well that although it's been 18 years, we've got a WhatsApp group, and we've had one for years, haven't we, Steve?
Yeah.
So we talk to the guys all the time. So
yeah. But
the whole thing didn't come from within our circle either. That was the interesting thing. I'll come on to that in a minute. But yeah, it was definitely one of those when it did arrive as a possibility, there was always the question then of, do people actually want to do it?
Mm-hmm. And it was the question in our group, Are you guys into it? Like, wasn't it they contacted Alessio or what was that?
Well, what they actually did, they contacted one of our Japanese fans.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
So this was the guy running Warriors of Steel, Marius, from Legend of Valley Doom fame. So he got in touch with Yuko and said, Steve's not on social media. How do I get hold of him? Do you have his phone number? So she didn't want to give somebody the number straight off, so she gets in touch with me, saying, I've got this chap. What's your phone number? I said, oh, really? Okay. But then she went on to say it was. So, yeah, of course, that's fine. That's absolutely fine. So the original ask, if you like, was that me and Alessio would go over there and do a kind of PQ greatest hits / karaoke almost with a backing band. That was the original thing, and I think they've done a few things like that.
What? I didn't know that.
No, good job you tune in, mate, isn't it? You find out stuff.
Another scoop for the podcast.
Yeah, exactly. So I said to Al, what do you think of that? Do you want to do that? And he goes, no. I said, okay. For exactly the reasons he thought karaoke, what's the point? However, he said, if you can get the other guys, Andrea, Steve, and Francesco, to sign up for it, then that's a whole different question. So that's what happened. The question was put, wasn't it? And I wasn't expecting for years and years, we had a running joke in the band. Whenever a question was asked to Andrea and he'd answer in the affirmative, he'd always go, "Let's do it." So this is what came on the WhatsApp chat, of course. And everybody was straight in, weren't they, Steve?
Yeah, they were. I mean, the thing is, like all of us are kind of got fingers still in the music industry somehow. I mean, I'm in a covers band, hobby, sort of doing Beatles and David Bowie and Queen with two other guys acoustically, and I'm playing electric bass, so we play probably 3 times a month. So I'm still playing. And, Alessio has a studio, Steve's doing his choir.
Which these guys probably don't know about.
Yeah. And
I
Andrea
know a little
musician.
bit about it, but Steve, why don't you just tell us about it a little bit while we got you?
Well, yeah, from a point of view of music and doing music, if that's a doing music kind of thing, I'd had not the best of times at the start of the decade, as I probably told you last time we spoke. COVID, the whole working from home for 15 years, it was all walls kind of closing in on you a little bit, that kind of thing. And I needed an outlet. I needed something to do. So my good lady Anna saw this advert in the newspaper. It must have been Christmas time 23, around about then. Said, "Look, there's a choral society thing here doing an open day. You going to go?" She says. I said, "Am I?" "Oh, okay." So anyway, long story short, I went along and I hated it.
Oh, there you go.
Hated it, but I thought, do I hate it because it's unfamiliar? Do I hate it because it's something I haven't done before, I haven't done for a long time? So I went back the next week and started getting into it. And you had to have an audition to get into this thing as well. And I hadn't sung seriously for, a long, long time. But having quit cigarettes some years back, turns out I'm a lot better singer than I thought I was. And I ended up having some lessons with a lady who sang with a famous company over here called the BBC Singers. So I took a few months of lessons with her, and she really opened my eyes as to the art of the possible. So that, been doing stuff, Bach, oratorios. We're doing a Rachmaninoff thing next month in Russian.
Wow.
It's all foreign language stuff and so on, but, real complex. You got to be able to read music kind of stuff, it's pretty full on. Then on the other side of the coin, 2 weeks after joining that choir, a lady came up to me and says, "My husband's in this other choir. They're looking for people." And this was an all-male choir. And all male voice choirs, as they call them. But I grew up in North Wales with that tradition of male voice choirs. So the minute I walked in there, it was like going back 40 years. Real familiar vibe and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, I've been doing that, and I've ended up being the guy who books the concerts for that choir, and obviously some experience of doing that kind of thing in a former life and so on. And I've ended up as the chairman of the other one.
Wow.
But they're certainly utilising my skills, if you like,
Sure.
But,
I don't know if you knew this, but I went to an all boys Catholic high school, and I was in the choir for the 4 years that I was in high school. It was all mostly hymns and during masses and stuff, but we also did concerts. We did a Christmas concert, so we sang, Christmas music. We always finish with the Hallelujah chorus every year. That was the grand finale. And in the spring we would do we had a Marianist brother was our our vocal teacher, and he would pick like really cool like classic rock tunes and stuff like that. I remember we sang the heat is on from I forgot what movie that was in the 80s, Cocktail or one of those so fun stuff like that. So I can see that would be a lot of fun. But what about what were the other guys up to, currently? I know Alessio has kind of moved into more of like a producing kind of area, but he has his band. What about the other guys? Like, what have they been up to? Was
Well,
it hard
Andrea,
to get? Was it hard to get everybody like that? Like, do you have this time open to do this? That sort of thing.
Yeah, I think the timing for Andrea, he's working with David Ellison. He's got other bands. He's teaching full-time guitar, and so he goes out on tour. He was touring with Michelangelo last year, and I mean he's recording with David Ellison and stuff, and he's pretty busy. So he's full-time.
Jeff Scott also.
Yeah, and so he's like, that's his job. And Francesco, would you believe, makes horror soundtrack music.
Wow.
Full time.
That's cool. Wow.
So he's on his synthesizer going, but he's a qualified architect.
So as this was coming together, it sounds like everyone was staying active in the industry, doing their own type of either live performance or studio editing and whatnot. But was the itch there to say, you know what, let's make another run at this, because I know that there has been clamoring from the fans for it, but it seems like the stars were beginning to align to say, you know what, now is the time to get the boys back together.
Well, I think it was, as I was saying before, I don't think we can say it was like that this time.
Right.
From the pop, because it was such a random question.
It was out of the blue. Yeah, I mean, it was like,
completely
what? Norway for a festival in Norway?
How
what?
far north of Oslo?
Right.
But no, it was literally one of those. Well, what do we do? What do we do here? Do we do it? Is it worth it? And I don't mean, is it worth it financially? Is it worth the effort involved?
Right, the time and the investment of just,
Exactly.
And if you're going to take on something like this, I'm sure, there's obviously the practice and the rehearsals that go into it beforehand. It culminates with, the set at the festival, but then, obviously it begs other questions about the future. And we'll talk about that down the line. But once you had everybody on board and it was like, all right, we're going to do this. Did you have those like jitters like you were a kid again, like that nervous energy, or was it just like second nature at this point, like we're going to just go into a room and make it happen?
It was like 18 years hadn't happened. To be fair, now one of the key things is, I don't know if I talked about this. I probably did talk about this in years gone by, but the way that or this lineup of the band used to work was we only ever rehearsed before a gig or before a tour. We never got together every month or every week, or it was impossible given the geography involved.
Yeah.
Sure.
But this, in a sense, is a complete continuation of that kind of thing. We probably won't get in a rehearsal room together until the day before the show. It's going to be one of those, or maybe I suspect me and Alessio will get together from a point of view of working out some more backing vocals that we can do now that we couldn't have done back in the day.
I have trust in you for the sole fact that the one time I saw PowerQuest live, there were two guys that weren't even in PowerQuest playing, and it still came off great. So I think you guys got this.
Well, it's like anything, fellas, isn't it? Music, any walk of life, really. If you're aiming to do something and you've got X, Y, and Z to do to achieve it, well, it's kind of obvious, isn't it? You do X, Y, and Z. Right. And if everybody does X, Y, and Z, what could go wrong?
Yep. Is this the sort of thing where if it goes well, you might consider doing more shows, or is this really a true one-off and everybody better figure out how to get to Norway in May and say a proper farewell, or do you not want to really say for sure like what the future might hold beyond this one show?
Well, what I would say is the absolute key thing in this whole announcement is the definition of exclusive, because it's not always the same in contracts, as I'm sure you all know. In this case, exclusive means no other shows can be announced before that one in May. So it doesn't mean it's the only show. Well, it could be the only show, but it doesn't mean it has to be the only.
Right.
The
so
only
you
show.
could conceivably, if like Vakken wanted you to play in August, you could be, once this is over in June. I don't know if that's how Vakken would work, but this is just for instance, you could just say, yeah, we're going to be there.
Exactly. Or more likely, I've spoken to the guys about, this is another aspect of your question in a sense. What's the window for this? Mm-hmm. Is it an indefinite thing? Are we saying, well, we'll do this thing in 26, and then in reality, other festivals are more than likely to be 2027, unless there's more small kind of things. Bigger ones will already be done for that year. Sure. So saying to the boys, really, yeah, we're committing to do a show, but in a sense, you're committing to keeping your diary at least flexible,
right,
for 2 years.
Mm-hmm. So this would be, would this be something that you would want to keep exclusive to festivals, or maybe something that you'd want to do like a hometown show at the Underground or something like in the UK, or
that's not our hometown anymore, I suppose.
Yeah, I guess not. Yeah,
sure. Yeah. Although Alessio's in London, I used to live in London for like 10 years, but yeah,
and I'm only an hour and a half from London, aren't I?
Nothing like that has been discussed. Mm-hmm. So we're just planning the show. That's it.
Steve Scott, here's a question for you. You haven't been in Power Quest in quite some time. Are there specific songs that you are excited to play live with the band that are personal favorites of yours?
I always had a soft spot for Edge of Time. I don't know, it's just that kind of 80s groove. I can rock back in the background and get into it, and it's relatively easy. It's not too fast, and give my fingers a little bit of a rest. And I'm looking forward to playing that. I think really I'm just looking forward to play some metal again. Really, I'm missing the double kick. I could listen to double kick all day, but but I don't play that. I don't play that at the moment. I'm playing like Ticket to Ride and Queen, and so it's like. And we don't have a drummer, so I play drums on bass, kind of thing. So I'm really looking forward to some fast speed and some catchy solos. So I'm really looking forward to it. Yeah.
So to that end, I'll ask Steve Williams. Have you? And I'm not looking for song titles or anything like that, just because I don't want to ruin it for fans that might be in attendance. But have you started putting a set list together, or have you given any thought to what you guys might be playing? Because 6 months will be here before you know it.
Yeah, we've done all that, haven't we, Steve?
Yeah, I mean, we've basically we said it right in the first statement. We will be playing songs from the first 3 albums. So listen to the first 3 albums. You've got the set.
There you go. Yeah, and I mean it makes
easy
sense. And given that the old band is back together, I think that certainly makes a lot of sense. But in terms of was there input from each of the guys, like throw this one on from from Neverworld or anything like that, or was it just kind of organically came together with the WhatsApp chat going back and forth?
Exactly that. I think back and forth, and then this order, that order. Actually, this will be better after this, and that. Mm-hmm. So we have it down. Yeah.
What have we got? We've got an hour, haven't we, to play?
Yeah, it's an hour. It's going to be full on, little talk, just maximum music. Right. And we just want hair flying everywhere. So
we can talk after.
To be fair, guys, it's a long time since I did a 60-minute set. It's probably Prog Power. Mm-hmm. It's possibly the last time we do a 60-minute set. And
is there any particular reason why Master of Illusion is getting left off of this? Or
the main reason, I think, is that Steve never toured that album.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I went back. I got offered a job with Apple in New Zealand. I was working with Apple in London, and then I'd been in London for 10 years, and this opportunity came up, and it was kind of like, every holiday was a tour or in the studio. Every single holiday. We had full-time jobs. I wasn't a rock star with a Ferrari, So, that was it. So I had to make that call, and that's what happened. Went back to New Zealand. I had a Apple store I was managing. And, that album, for me, it wasn't as catchy. It was totally different, a little bit darker, and just going through different stuff, I suppose, if you look at the lyrics. And I think at the time we were like, let's not do Rhapsody, dragons, and, flying over high mountains and rainbows and, seven seas and, and that I think that was kind of discussed. It was a little bit more realistic themes. And we recorded that one in Italy. And it was a cool time, really cool, with the guys in their hometown and see how they live and, recording there and stuff. So
was that when did Paul join the band after Steve departed, or was there somebody who was a bridge in between?
We had a
Paul?
stand-in for live work. He was an old pal of mine from a band called Mercury Rain, a chap called John Hoare. He did a UK tour in 2008. He did the final show with the Italian guys in 2009, but he was never a fully fledged member of the band, if you like.
Got it.
Paul came out just after that.
Mm.
And so I guess as you've kind of gone back and started, in many cases, re-listening to music that you may not have, been intimately involved in for some time, especially, Steve Scott. Did the creative juices start flowing again, where ideas for new music may have, maybe seeping into your consciousness or anything on that front? I'm not putting you on the spot. I'm not asking about a new album. I know better than to do that. But are the creative juices again flowing?
Well,
I was more...
Go on.
Sorry. No. I was just more concentrating on, heck, man, I've got a job to do here. I've got to get my fingers back into action. I've got to think like Billy Sheehan. I've got to get my calluses back. I've got to, man, I was just like, I haven't done this. I'm just going ding, 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 like it normally, but now it's like, digga, 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 still on, and I was like, geez, I've got a lot of work to do, man. I was a little bit worried, I was like, far out. So, but it's coming. It's cool. It's good.
It's one of them, though, isn't it? It's like, if you're a long distance runner and you don't do any marathons for 10 years, and then you think, I'll try a marathon today. Well, that's not going to go well.
No, it certainly wouldn't. But just like anything else, you get back on the horse, and once you start riding again, you're going to pick it up a lot faster than, say, I would, who's not running a marathon anytime soon and probably never will.
Yeah. Yeah. No, but I did call Steve and I said, "How are you doing?" Have you got any ideas, or are you getting back into the zone after this whole period of time?
Sure.
And he just hung up the phone. No. Yeah, the internet dropped out. But then, what did you say, Steve? Yeah.
Well, you'll all know I've got a whole arsenal of stuff sat there for whenever it's needed. But there's no doubt that whenever you have an unexpected turn of events, dramatic turn of events, to quote Dream Theater, it does kind of... You'd be not human if it didn't fire your engines a little bit, So, I've got this little book here with... keep by the side of me, and that is purely for titles and just random phrases and word, maybe just a single word. And as I'm sat here during the day doing the day job, something pops into your head, just scribble it down. And then when I come to play the keys and stuff, I'll have a look at this book, and as I'm playing, I'll do any of these words set into what I'm doing, anything leaping in there. And people might think, well, that's a bit of a random way of doing it. But if you get an idea or a concept maybe and a hook, that work together, then the world's your oyster. You know, you're very quickly going out exponentially, kind of thing. So yeah, I think eventually, Steve, you know, there's no doubt that that's going to be a question. You know, I'm going to be saying, well, I've got these songs, what am I going to do?
Yeah, I remember calling you one time. I was like, man, I was practicing one of the songs, and I was like, Steve, man, that's a really good song, actually. You know, I didn't realize that. You know, it's like, fuck, that's catchy. You know, because I don't listen to the albums. You know, I'm not sitting at home going, oh yeah, press play on Power Quest. No way. I don't. I record the album. That's it. That's it. Yeah, finished, done. Next, you know. So, but. Yeah, no, it's
you only, as you go down the years, however long you're doing it for, you have a set list for this, a set list for that, and so you listen to those songs. Clearly, you know, you'd be a bit silly not to do something else. But when you're doing that, you then think about the other songs, and I'm always thinking about those. I know Justin uses the phrase "deep cuts." You know, I often think about a track like "Into the Light" on Neverworld, or a track like Another World on Magic Never Dies. And you listen to the songs, but it's not listening to the tune and singing along. It's remembering, remember that bass part at 421? Mm-hmm. Oh, I've got to listen to that. That kind of thing. And that's what I find inspiring nowadays. You know, it's not the whole song as such. It can be just a tiny fragment of it. But it's a cool moment, you know, in a sea of moments. And those are the things, Steve, I think we forget about when we don't listen to things.
I think we have
runs and stuff on Magic Never Dies, for example, in the bass. And a song like Lost Without You on Neverworld, from a bass point of view, it makes the song.
Right, right. Yeah. I think we have the same experience when we cover albums, you know, during our standard format, because there are parts of songs, whether it be a specific bass lick or even a little drum fill, which is what really resonates with us, taking the melody of the song aside, or, you know, what's otherwise a catchy chorus. But there's just elements of songs that we've gone back to and we haven't listened to for 10 or 20 years. And then all of a sudden it's like, wow, I forgot how powerful this section of this song was. So it's a very similar experience for us. But I have to ask Chris a question. Chris, what would you do to get your hands on that book that Steve just showed on the screen? Because in my mind, I'm thinking to myself, I'm surprised you're not going to the airport as we speak, trying to get your hands on that book.
No, I think sometimes, as the saying goes, it's best not to see how the sausage is made. So, you know, I like, you know, as far as like not wanting to know what the set list is going to be and wanting to be surprised, and like, you know, I'd rather be surprised. Steve hasn't disappointed me yet. So I think, you know, it's all good, but yeah, I think that's cool. Steve, was that always how you, like just kept track of little ideas and stuff, or is that more of a recent, technique for you?
No, Steve will tell you, I've always been, a book and pen kind of guy, haven't I? Mm-hmm. Yep. And to be fair, when we first met, and when did we meet? It was 1999, I think. Me and Steve were first in a rehearsal room together in Old Street in London, mate. Remember?
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. And I was a A4 notebook and pencil guy then.
Yeah, he was. I mean, this is after Dragon Hearts, right? This is our first kind of PQ. Yeah. Rehearsal with it was me, you, Adam, and Sam, or what? What was that? Yeah.
That was it. But it's always come sort of naturally to me to be playing and then have a music stand with a book and a pencil. You know, and you play. Oh, what did I do wrong there? Play it again. Oh, that's interesting. Write it down. So even a mistake can be a good thing, or a jump off point, as you said earlier. And that's why I always like to write things down. I'm not writing down every note or anything like that, but it's the things that stick out, and it can be for good or bad reasons. And sometimes something that's bad doesn't have to be bad in a different context, you know?
Yeah. So, circling back to songs, the band had done anniversary performances of the first two albums, and there was a plan to do Magic Never Dies at Prague Power. Is that something you would like to circle back to? And if not, are there songs from Magic Never Dies that the band just has never played live before that you might want to throw into the set list and just I'm not an expert on the history of set lists for the band, but I'm just curious.
Well, I should be, shouldn't I?
Yeah, that's why I'm asking.
Well,
you've
about it.
You've officially played every song from the first two albums at least once, so I was just curious if there were songs from Magic Never Dies that were never played live, or at least off the top of your head.
I think the only ones that weren't were
The Longest Night, for sure. We never did
does that count as being on the album, as soon as it's...
I'd say no, just because it's a bonus track.
Yeah, so I'd go with The Message and Diamond Sky.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I think all the others have been played at some point or other. I know we did Strike Force back in the day, Steve, because there's a YouTube clip.
I love that
good
song.
one.
Yeah.
Done Another World quite a few times. Soulfire was done.
Whose voice is that on the answering machine at the beginning of The Message?
Oh, my other half.
Oh, okay. that's awesome.
Things haven't changed.
Yeah.
Does she have any acting skills? Because it kind of I always thought it came from a movie or something like that. It was very well done.
Well, it was hilarious because it was recorded directly onto the answer phone at Thin Ice Studios.
Oh, was it? Oh, okay,
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
So she phoned up, recorded the message. Cole took the audio and started working it into the track, kind of thing.
Did it give you chills hearing her say that? She was breaking up with you?
When I heard it gave me a chill, man, shiver up my spine. I was like, oh, far out. Yeah.
You only have to listen to it by choice.
But yeah, that was cool. But just practicing these songs. So I was going to say, practicing these songs, it made me look back at some old photos and just remembering the times back in the studio and stuff. And then I went onto YouTube and then looking at the, that crappy video I made because, I was just playing around with iMovie, it was the Black Apple Mac came out. iMovie was really new, and I was just playing around with it. And we were in the studio, and we're like, "Hey, man, let's go out to the backyard and try and play along and have some fun." That's how it came out. It was really old. So,
Steve, is that a lot of your influence, Steve Scott? Those first three albums, I had to dig these up years later, but those ones with the extra content, with there's photo albums and there's amateur shot video of the band playing.
I think with that was from, what was that label, Steve, with those two guys?
Magic Never Dies one. Majestic.
Yeah, but then didn't they re-release? Or did they have the bonus DVD on one or something? Was it the bonus DVD you're talking about, Chris, or what?
I think the first three albums all had bonus DVDs, and I had went out of my way to go onto eBay and find copies of them because I thought it was super cool. Not a lot of bands did that. Would add live footage and
they were the reissues.
The reissues, they just said, send me all the photos you've got, all the video you've got, and then I
remember there was video of Andrea showing how he plays guitar, and there was there's a lot of cool stuff on there. It was a nice collector's item to have.
Yeah,
definitely a potpourri kind of thing. Very much a lucky dip type situation. I think on the original version of Neverworld, Richard West did some multimedia stuff. I seem to recall on that release. There's some artwork stuff and this, that, and the other.
Nice.
So
he did that documentary. He did that documentary of us on the Neverworld. When we're sitting there talking about the album and stuff.
That was upstairs in the studio, wasn't it?
Above the studio. He put that together, and that was, this is the early days of digital cameras, I think, even, it was 1 megapixel,
I was going to say, it's got to be a lot easier now just because technology has evolved so much over the last 25 years.
Exactly.
That now you'll go to a show and you'll see somebody with like, you know, the camera on a stick, and all of a sudden you have you combine that with the mixing board, and you've got a DVD release, and it's like, you know, on a camera on a GoPro that's this big.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, it was very early days of, you know, video and, you know,
I still get a
video.
kick out of that music video you guys recorded in the backyard. Like that just looked like it was a bunch of guys having a great time. Like that just looked,
it was
like us. That looked like stuff we used to do when we were in high school, minus any talent. You know, just screwing around in the backyard. There's a video of us miming Crazy Train in our friend's backyard, and it made me think very, like, when I saw that video, I was like, they're just us, but with talent.
Yeah. Well, you know the bit where Alessio is singing and there's like a river below him and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Basically, I was holding the laptop with the playback, like, right next to him, and he was miming it, and then how do we video that? I don't know if it was some camera. Oh, maybe, I don't know. It was it was really basic.
I wasn't actually there, was I, for that?
Yeah, you were recording, so we go, let's do another shot, you know, somewhere just down the road from the studio. And there was people walking around in the background and stuff like that. It was pretty funny.
But it was nice that you peppered in like photos from the studio and stuff throughout the video. Like, it was just cool. Like, you know, I love that kind of stuff, and that was one of like my earliest memories of hearing anything that Power Quest did, and probably the first time I ever actually saw what you guys looked like in action. So I thought that was cool.
Well, I was working at Apple, so I was kind of had access to a little bit, and then I went down to Steve's one time and we did a podcast. Right, I was like, wow, what's this thing, a podcast? You know, like, and we did one called the Power Quest podcast. I don't know if you ever heard that.
I don't think so. No.
Remember that, Steve? I literally had an old iPod hard drive with a microphone plugged into the top, and we were just talking into that. Yeah. That was it, you know.
We were trailblazers, mate.
Seriously.
What we need is a recording of that. That's what we need.
I would love to hear that. That'd be awesome.
I think I don't know if I've got that somewhere. I don't know. Yeah.
It'll be one of those other things, mate. You've probably got it, but it won't power on anymore or something like that.
Yeah. It was sitting in your backyard, and the birds, you can hear the birds and everything, you know. It's pretty funny.
Is there any consideration to having the show in Norway filmed for a DVD, or is that not something that is worth the expense? Because I know that's not a cheap thing. Like, it's not an inexpensive thing to do.
I wouldn't think so.
Norway is so expensive. I mean, it's not really up to us. It's not our show, you know. It's like we're just playing there, you know. So
I think it's an interesting question, though, because, you know, coming back to Prog Power in 2017, if that had been the full lineup of the band, I'd have wanted to film that. Mm-hmm. But it seemed something felt a bit off with it not being the full lineup, and to go to the expense of doing something for a one-off lineup.
Most of it is on YouTube in pretty decent quality, honestly. I think there's a couple of songs that were missing, but, like, you know, if anybody wasn't there, you could find it on YouTube pretty easily. So,
you know what I'm like, guys, though? I always like to make things a nice package and something for people to read, and, you know, good liner notes and all that kind of stuff. It would have been nice to do that, because it really would have been a moment in time, and I think we'd have said the same thing when we got
London show. That London show, I wish that was filmed.
The last one.
The last one, which, you know...
hardly any footage of that at all.
I know! I can't believe it. That was, 2019? Was it 2019?
Which one was that?
That was like the Neverworld / Paul tribute show.
Oh, where everybody showed up. Like,
everyone, Chris Bay from Freedom Call.
Somebody made a DVD of the underground show when...
Underworld.
Yeah, what did I say? Underground? Sorry, Underworld. Yeah. When the band called it a day after, I think it was before, it was like Ash was still in Dendera. He came out and sang a song, but it was like, I think the last club show, and then you did one more show.
2013, that would have been.
Yeah, somebody made a DVD of that with like fan recorded footage of that entire show, and I was always like bummed that I could show it to you. They even made like a nice little case for it and everything. I think they went to Steve and like asked for permission to do it, and he was like, "Go right ahead." And it's cool. It's raw, like from a cell phone probably, but it's cool to have. And that Neverworld show, that was one of those shows where I kicked myself for not being able to be there, because when I saw that, you see that final picture of everybody that's there, it's like a who's who of Power Quest history, just all and Tommy Johansson, was another one of my all-time favorites, just all in that group. I was like, oh my god, I would have killed to be at that show.
Yeah, well, I remember, he was at that London show. It was really cool that he was there as well.
We were quite blessed, with the lineup of people who turned up for that particular one, particularly considering I didn't know some of them were turning up.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. Wow. That's awesome.
So we had a pre-party the night before upstairs in the underworld, and we drank heavily that night, and I'm I don't know 4 or 5 pints into a skinful of Guinness, and I look across. I think that's Chris Bay. Nah, it can't be Chris Bay. He wouldn't. It was Chris Bay and Lars. They both come over. So it was very much on the hoof getting Chris involved in the show, because I didn't know he was coming. So things like that were great. And we were lucky to have Richard West and Farah come along and take part, which I thought... do you know what I enjoyed about that show most? It was playing Lost Without You. And having Farah taking the Sabine role, as it were, it worked great. Absolutely brilliant. Awesome. And that show was also cool for the one and only time we played a PQ song where I wasn't playing keyboards.
Oh, who played?
Richard West took over from When I'm Gone. Yeah. And they did that as a duet, Farah and Ash as well.
That's cool.
So I got to just sit on the side of the stage at the front. And
what was that like for you?
It was really enjoyable.
Yeah,
really enjoyable.
It has to be surreal watching the music come alive.
I literally sat like this. That kind of pondering. Interesting. And it's a whole heap of difference to listening to a recorded version of that would be.
Sure.
Of course. But being sat there under the PA, I think I was. Big PA. And fans were literally, able to touch my shoulder and all that, to sort of interact with people while I'm enjoying the show. It's great, real good.
Well, the other Underworld video that we did was with the Labyrinth and
Dream Evil.
Dream Evil, yeah, and were we the opening band for that?
Yeah, we might have been. Yeah.
And my brother videoed the whole show. He was working for MTV at the time, but he had just bought this Handycam. So that's on YouTube as well. When you get to see backstage, you see Roberto from Labyrinth and all this. And that was with a different drummer as well, though. That wasn't with Francesco.
Yeah, you say a different drummer. It was another one of these genius Italian drummers that Andrea and Alessio, it's like they got a factory of them or something. But Francesco's not available. We got this guy called Matteo. Whatever his name was.
It was Paolo, wasn't it?
Paolo. Yeah. And,
awesome.
and he just turned up and think, oh God, what's he going to be like then? It's just
and the machine that they're growing them like on trees out in the.
Our family must have been from a different part of Italy, I guess.
Yeah.
As you look ahead to 2026 and this show, is there one thing in particular that you're like most excited for about getting back on the stage and playing live with the original lineup?
I think it's the whole full circle thing for me.
Same. The hang, these guys are fun, it's really cool. So, yeah.
And when you think how it all came together way back when, it was quite random, wasn't it, really, as we talked about with finding Alessio and Andrea coming with him just to keep him company. And then they know Francesco and bloody blah, blah, blah. There's always been that kind of unexpected side of it as well, so you get these great guys together, but oh Christ, I didn't think you'd be that good, and all that kind of thing. So I think I think I'm old enough and wise enough now to expect nothing other than 100% awesomeness when we hit the stage. You know, I've got no qualms, and I think this time round as well, it's probably worth mentioning. We're trying to do this more as a fivesome rather than me and Steve leading the way.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're all 20 odd years older. We're all, you know, everybody's at a different place. People have grown up. People are this, that, and the other. So I think it's only right that something like this happens. You don't then start saying, right, well, this is what's happening. We're going to be doing that. You need to be here. You need to be there. It's going to cost you this. It's going to cost you that. We're not doing that. You know, it's very much an open book type situation this time, isn't it? And if people,
it seemed more like a celebration. Yeah, you know, like when we were talking in the WhatsApp, it was like, we had a few calls, actual audio calls. So it was like everyone was really excited actually. So it was good to hear that everyone was on board, and I think it's going to be really just a fun night. You know, it's really going to be cool. Yeah.
Absolutely, and it'll be interesting as well going back to one guitar.
Oh yeah,
that's going to be a big shift of the dial backwards. But I think the thing to remember is that, and this is, you know, no slight on anybody else who's played guitar, but Andrea is a monster. He's an absolute monster. He's like a player and a half in terms of the sound.
Right.
You know, so that was how he was 20 years ago. So what's he going to be like to play with now? I know
you don't need two guitars when you have a nice full sound coming from the one necessarily. You know, and obviously it's not for lack of technical expertise as well. So it's it's the total package in that sense.
Well, I think it'll bring out the keyboards a bit better as well. Maybe.
There was definitely cases or instances of keyboards getting lost beneath the barrage of guitars at times, you know. But I think what will be cool, I think, are the solo sections. So when he's hitting a guitar solo, well, I've suddenly got a whole load more responsibility than I've had for the last 18 years. You know, in that sense, because I've got to fill that sound. If you've got another rhythm guitar in there,
that's gonna take up the sound there, so you don't have as much to worry about.
Exactly.
I guess.
I could be on a tea break then, kind of thing, you know.
It's a good problem to have.
Artists are always their biggest critic. I think that the fans in attendance will probably feel like the whole thing is seamless. Honestly,
I hope so.
Well, I think, you know, harking back to the backing vocal thing as well, I think that's going to enhance the sound in terms of the breadth and depth of the sound. And I think that can only help matters. So yeah, I think it'll be
who is the in charge? Not in charge, but who's involved in singing backing vocals with this iteration of the lineup?
I suspect it'll be just me and Al.
Yeah. Okay.
Unless the other boys want to.
I mean, edge of time, or I don't know.
You know, since I've got better at singing, I've got an awfully lot more critical about singing as well, as you can imagine. So I think the problem we're going to have, if we're just doing one rehearsal beforehand, that's not a lot of time to get your vocals right. You know?
Is it more difficult to sing and play keyboards simultaneously than it is to just sing?
Depends what you're playing. Or more accurately, it depends on the rhythm of what you're playing. Because you might be playing something that's, in effect, pretty straight sort of standard beat, but what you're singing isn't. And that can get, and it's the same for guitarists and bassists, of course. You've got two opposing things challenging your brain.
Yeah.
And the only way you get over that is repeat. Old fashioned, but it's the only way I've found to master that particular issue.
Sure. Well, I'll end with this. You know, you both had mentioned that like you haven't been as involved playing as much heavy metal music, but have you both continued to listen to heavy metal music? And if so, has anything recently, you know, really caught your ear? I think in particular, I know you guys are both big fans of both Dream Theater and Halloween. Both bands have new albums this year. But beyond those two, like, is there anything that has really caught your guys' ear, you know, in the the metal world while you've been kind of on sabbatical, so to speak.
Can we go, mate?
Oh, yeah. Because when we toured with Angra. I always like Edu's voice, so I really got into his solo stuff, like Vera Cruz and El Dorado, and I'm really looking forward to this third episode, which is meant to happen soon. I don't know. So I've been like, I introduced Andrea to that Vera Cruz album, and he immediately bought it. I think I met him when he was with at Michelangelo, and I said, "Hey man, listen to this," and he was like, "Whoa." So that, but I have the Halloween, and I'm going to the show in Prague this Friday, so I'm really looking forward to that. That's a nice album. It's not my favorite, but it's got some good songs. To be honest, I really just like Andy Deris albums, Surprise! Yeah. And, cause I love Straight Out of Hell. I love, the God We Trust one. Oh, what is it called?
My God-Given Right.
Yeah, God-Given Right. Gambling with the Devil. We toured with them on that album. And so I really like Andy's voice, plus Pink Cream 69 Days. So,
talking of that Halloween tour, there's fish coming off the wall.
Oh, nice.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah, that was, yeah. So, yeah.
You want to, for those listening and for the benefit of those without video, you want to tell everyone what you just shared?
Oh, yeah. Hanging up in the corner of my room here is a little A5 size tour flyer from 2005, 2006. It's the Legacy World Tour they were doing. And we did 3 shows with them in February in Bradford, Glasgow and London. That was one of the most successful tours we ever did in terms of finance, even though it was only 3 days.
I think the parallels between fans of both bands are very prominent. I'm not surprised that if Halloween is packing rooms in the UK, that when Power Quest is on the bill, they're either making new fans and people are running to the merch to grab a t-shirt or something like that, or just happy that they get to see Power Quest live and talk about a dual bill. I think it's a power metal fan's dream to see those bands together. So more incredibly, I can't believe it's been almost 20 years. That to me is just mind blowing.
Yeah.
I think we got Into Eternity and Jag Panzer opening for that tour in the States. No offense to those bands, but I would have loved Power Quest way more as the opener.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
Well, I want to, before we let you guys go, where can everyone find you? Where's the best place to keep up with all things going on with Power Quest? I know Steve Williams not as active on social, but anything that you want to plug, by all means, now would be a great time.
Well, we have a Facebook page, and we do have Instagram that we kind of just created for this announcement, really. And as Steve, what's happening with the website?
Yeah, the plan's to overhaul that, so we've just got a holding page at the minute. But I think how overhauled it gets really depends on how much more we're going to do. If we just do the one show, there's no point really going to town on it. But if we're going to be doing stuff for a couple of years or whatever, then there absolutely is. So we'll have to see on that. Yeah, so we're probably not the most visible of people, but I just can't be doing with all the noise these days. I can't be doing with it, guys. And,
certainly understood.
Don't blame you one bit.
My social media presence is lacking.
Sorry to interrupt. What I would say is, have I missed it? No.
No, and I could tell you from our side, you haven't missed anything.
I think to myself now, I'm so busy with things all the time. How did I ever have time to waste my time?
Mm-hmm. Exactly. I think that's exceptionally well said. And I think that when it's one of those things that when it's gone, you realize how much of a void it was filling, and it begs other questions entirely. So it's a good thing to be able to just let go and say, you know what, I'll focus on the here and the now and not the noise that surrounds it.
And you find the ways to keep in touch with the people that matter, and that's what's important.
That's it, mate. You know, there's always email, there's always a phone, isn't there? You know, it doesn't have to be post all the time.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and
that's funny. There's a comedian here in the States who said we've gotten to the point where the phone is just a seldomly used app on our phone.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, but the funny thing is, sorry, I was just going to say that we, we've never actually not been in contact. I suppose. I mean, with Andrea, he came over to here in the Czech Republic and went on summer holiday with us, and I've visited them in Italy, and sort of we've over the 20 years, man, we're still friends. You know, it's like
10 years ago, 2015, we all got together in Italy, didn't we?
Yeah.
And I remember that because I missed my flight.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Or rather, I didn't hear the taxi arrive in the morning.
What was that for? We're just hanging out. Or what?
Yeah, we just had a long weekend.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
You know, lots of pizza and all that kind of thing.
That's true. Yeah.
Well, I think that's what makes the quote unquote reunion that much more special, because it's not just getting playing the old songs, but it's playing the old songs with the guys that were there from this time, right? And I think that there's something extra special about that, and I think that that's not going to be lost on those fans that are in attendance on May 29th of next year.
And there are no unknowns either, because we've been in touch all down the years. You're not going to, what's he going to be like? Oh, he was always a bit weird, wasn't he? You know, that kind of thing. But there's nothing that, thankfully.
That's great. Any parting thoughts, Steve? Or Steve, I want to just give you the floor, and then we'll cut it from there.
Just eat more pasta for more power.
I could not agree more with that sentiment.
Thank you for joining us. We wish you nothing but the absolute best of luck and all the success in the world. And we will catch up with you guys soon.
Always a pleasure, guys. Thanks for having us.
Thanks for joining us. And if all works out, I will be seeing you guys in May.
Lovely job.
Yep. So what, May 29th, is it? I think so. Yep.
May 29th. It's the May 29th Warriors of Steel Festival, Alice in Norway. So for those, it's a very, very good lineup. Not just Power Quest, but several other bands that
Twilight Force.
I think people are going to be looking forward to checking out as well. So it should be a fun one.
Should be good.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
Cool. Hopefully see you there,
fellas.
See you there.